Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Popcorn, and this is Jason.
This is Kai, and we have another great discussion for you today. The movie of the day is Trainspotting. It's from 1996, but still want to give everyone a heads up that there will be spoilers.
Yeah, Trainspotting. It's from 1996, as Kai said, and it's from Danny Boyle, and it shows us a very skinny and young Ewan McGregor.
It's pee
That,
too.
yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff that we see inside this movie. But that's what Pat.
Yeah,
That was like the
not for
first thing
kids.
my
Not.
my my girlfriend next to me was like. She was like, "Oh, he looks so thin and everything." I was like, "Yeah, the whole premise of this story is that all the people around them are thin." But
They're drug addicts.
yeah, so yeah, and that I guess that's like another kind of warning is that this movie does kind of show and encapsulates drug use inside of its like movie and stuff, and so yeah,
It's like the
that's
other side of Breaking Bad. Like Breaking Bad,
yeah,
you get to
right.
see
It's
the.
like what is the result of what Breaking Bad brings to you?
Mhm. Like you're not Walter White making all this money and hiding it in like walls and lock
Yeah,
boxes. Like you're the person in a crack house on a floor,
and
barfing
has
everywhere.
like $2 and needs to go steal a car battery to go sell it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not the typical shining movie that we see typically with drugs
Yeah.
and everything, which is weird, but um but yeah, but let's ask you what'd you like about the movie?
uh, as you know, my typical, I have a list.
And I have no list.
I like that they showed pretty much what we just said. Like they showed the griminess uh of being a drug addict. Like they didn't try to sugarcoat like, oh well, they have nice beds and like if you watch Euphoria, like Euphoria shows something similar too. Like they show there's one character, one of the main characters, she's a drug addict and went to rehab, but she's in high school, so she still lives at home. She has a bed, she has a laptop and cell phone, like all these things. But the drug addicts in this, they are living in terrible conditions.
Yeah,
Even though
squalor.
some of them have homes, like they have parents that they can go back to, but
Yeah,
they like staying in on the floor on a shitty mattress with cigarette butts and shit everywhere.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it does show what the gritty, like you said, the grittiness of like what
Yeah.
this can and can be sometimes very real for other people. That people that watch
Mm-hmm.
this, it's like it can kind of probably bring back some so like this is sometimes very real where like you said with the euphoria where it's like it almost kind of like puts this weird veil over it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make it seem real.
And oh, so that was one thing I liked. I had a couple. The shit being thrown at the family was so funny.
Oh my god, yeah.
That was so funny. I love that scene.
It was good to know that I ate something right before I watched this movie. So,
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. You should have a big meal and then watch that scene over and over.
but man, I just thought about like the whole like when that happened. It's like that could have happened to anybody too. When
Yeah,
you
that
get
was
so
super
wasted,
unexpected.
you're like, but actually, I've never been like so out of it that like I've like pissed the bed or what he did. He shat the bed and
Yeah,
he
no.
wasn't in his own home. That sucked. But it's like, yeah,
Just
that
some
can
random
totally
and he
happen to
tried to like
everybody.
keep it like, hey, no, don't take this from me. This is nasty. And the girl was just
Right?
persistent and just
Yeah.
got what she deserved, honestly. Like, no, that's my sheet, and just ugh. Every time a movie does something like that, my brain instantly goes to I think it's Dumb and Dumberer, and there's a scene where I think Harry. I don't know if you, yeah, Dumb and Dumberer is like the prequel to Dumb and Dumber, so it's like their young versions. They're in high school, and I think Harry goes to this. girl's house. Harry likes this girl. He thinks the girl likes him, but she's kind of just like, she looks at him as a charity case. She's at his house. He's at her house. He goes upstairs, uses the restroom, or uses the guest restroom, whatever. Uses the restroom, destroys the entire bathroom, not just the toilet, the entire bathroom. Her dad walks in. Her dad is Bob Saget. Her dad is played by Bob Saget, and he opens the door and looks around, and he just says, "There's shit everywhere." And I can't not think about that movie when people like get shit thrown in their face in movies.
That's not where my mind went, and I don't
Oh
even
yeah,
remember if I've seen that movie too.
I'll send you the scene. I'll find it on YouTube and send it to you. It's hilarious.
Yes.
So those two, the sinking, I really, and I don't know Jordan Peele, but it felt like the sinking scenes that they showed, like him sinking into the
Like
toilet
when the toilet, or like also when he like that his like
when he
drug
OD'd.
dealer like yeah, like when he OD just kind of like
Hmm.
drags him out, but he's like kind of down below the surface.
Yes,
Yeah.
like that reminded me of Get Out, like the scene in Get Out in the sunken place.
True. I wonder, yeah, because like Jordan Peele, like we talked about in our Jordan Peele discussion, he
Yeah.
drew a lot of influences from like he has like a large body of knowledge of movies, and it's like I
Hmm.
wonder if like how he's like what if he was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was like, kind of like
You seen Trainspotting? Yeah, that's where I got the sunken place.
yeah, that was actually, it was intense and everything, because it's like you can imagine where it's like, yeah, where he's like, he's just like he's like over, he's observing what's going on around him, but you know he's not completely there. And then the dude
Yeah,
just throws him into a taxi, and then that
which is
taxi driver just
insane.
drives him to the hospital, just throws him out on the floor.
It's like, hey, my buddy's half dead, but like, get him to the hospital, please.
Yeah, right.
So that, and then the last one that I have on my list is I like the under the sheets scenes, like the interaction between the couples, and they just you're kind of enveloped by sheets or like covers or whatever from a bed.
That whole
I
scene where
really
like they were
enjoyed
all
those.
getting over, like going home from the bar with everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they had two
yeah.
of them, so they had that one, and I think they had one later.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things I was gonna point out, as both my girlfriend and I next to me, we
Hmm.
enjoyed like when he was detoxing in his parents' house, where
Hmm.
like there was like those under the sheet scene where he's kind of like he's freaking out, but like there's like a shot that's like you can tell the camera is under the sheet with him, kind of
Yes,
seeing that distance of
yes,
like where he looks frightened and everything, and then seeing the his like reality kind of warp, because like the room got really long and then kind of compressed, and then
hmm,
you can tell he's kind of going through a lot of stuff and everything at that moment. He's like sweating like crazy, and he's like seeing like his friends that are the drug addicts with him too in his kind of like detox moments and stuff,
yeah.
and that was intense, where it's like, yeah, like those were really good scenes. And then that dude popped up next to him, that like the one that
Oh
fights
yeah,
everybody while he's under the
yeah.
sheets and stuff.
It's like,
But
what are you doing?
yeah, I really, yeah, those were really good too. And the transitions as they, like when they're going home from the bar, and they all kind of like go home with another woman and everything. And so it's
Yeah.
like I like the transitions where like you're kind of seeing as to like what people are kind of going through. Where
Hmm.
Ewan McGregor's character was probably the most successful in that night, in terms of like,
Was he though?
yeah, we'll kind of like brush over that situation,
Yeah,
but it's like
yeah,
it's funny where like that was like commonplace, but it's like nowadays it's like I hope people are like, nah, that's not cool. Even though
yeah.
in real life she was 19, and he was like
That's
25.
true.
But it's like just the whole aspect of like that. It's
You're
like,
in school,
yeah,
bro.
you're kind
Like,
of like, but and then they continued it. It's like
yeah.
it reminds me of like Friends, where like Monica sleeps with this like young guy, and then like
Hmm.
they like acknowledge what the problem is, and then they kind of
Yeah.
continue with it. It's
Just
like,
brush over.
yeah, it's like I don't know,
It reminded me
but
of old school. I guess my brain is just jaded. It reminded me of old school when when I forgot the main guy's name, but when he sleeps with his boss's daughter.
Yeah, and then he finds out like in his boss's like office and everything.
Yes. And then she like
Yeah,
shows up.
yeah. Well, it's same thing like in this, where he like kind of finds out when he's like, "Are you like her flatmates?" It's like, no, I don't think she's told you everything. but,
Like
but
she's
for
kept a
me,
few things secrets.
the biggest thing that I really liked, and it reminded me, and the reason why I liked A Christmas Story so much was
Mhm.
the narration, because it
Oh
has
yeah.
this like inner monologue of like Ewan McGregor's character kind of like discussing his thoughts and feelings throughout these situations, and like even like the sad parts of like when that baby dies in
Dude.
the like their place that they do drugs and stuff, where it's like he's kind of analyzing the situation, where it's like, and it's like analyzing that the one that's affected the most is most likely the parent of that child.
Oh yeah.
And so then it's like, or what do you do in that situation? And then immediately he goes and tries to like use more drugs to kind of like calm the situation and stuff. But
Oh.
I liked it because it's like it reminds you at the end of the movie, it reminds you that it's based off a book or a novel. And so I liked how like they used the influence of someone that wrote this as a novel, and then it was transitioned into a movie, but you still kept that novel aspect of it, because it's like a novel typically is probably written in the perspective of like the inner monologue of someone. And so I like that, where it's like you got his perspective in like all situations. It one of the other points was, or another examples of it was when they got caught up for stealing. Ewan
Hmm.
McGregor's character was let go, but the other guy got like 6 months in jail and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they like see the mom of that dude, the bar and everything, and it's like it just turned into a mess. And like he's like talking about like, oh, like what, like it sucks that like I'm the one sitting here with my family and like my friends, where she and his other friend doesn't get to go home to his family and everything, and so
Hmm.
she kind of like is isolated from this situation too. But I really enjoy that, where it's like it adds another layer of perspective. And I use perspective as I literally just watched like a YouTube like analyst an analysis video on like
Hmm.
on I'm like watching Chernobyl again and everything. And it was I every time I watched Patty, my girlfriend says like I watched it like 3 times already, but I've never watched the
Goodness.
last episode. So I always watched 4 episodes of the five, but I never watched the very last one.
And then
So
just shut it down. Like,
and then I just,
let me
yeah,
not
just
watch
stopped
this
watching
last
it.
one.
And
Yeah.
so this time I'm trying to rewatch it, and I'm gonna watch the last one.
Okay.
But
Why don't you just watch the last one first?
I don't know. I now I'm like kind of invested. I've already watched like 2 or 3 episodes of it, so I'm like, all right.
Goodness. Watch you
But
just fall asleep watching the last one.
right.
Like, I'll get to it.
I mean, I'm going out later to go buy a bottle of gin. I mean, might drink too
Definitely
much and
not
just fall
gonna,
asleep.
yeah, definitely not gonna help you out.
I'm gonna ring in the new year at like 10 o'clock at night.
We're trying to watch Chernobyl.
But it adds another layer, and I really enjoy it. And it's like it kind of it shows visually what the person's going through, but then also you can kind of like, yeah, it this situation sucks. Or especially at the end where he's like debating as to stealing the money or not, and he's debating in his head like they would fucking do it anyways too, to me
Yeah.
also. So he's just gonna do it. And then I liked at the end, and this is the end, but like he gives a little money to the dude that he says never fucked over anybody, the guy
Hmm.
that went to jail for them and everything, like his buddy. And it was nice to see that like he fucked over the other two guys, and then just gave some money to that one dude and everything, and
Yeah.
just kind of wandered off to his life and everything.
Going back to be a real estate agent.
Right. A shitty
So
one at that too.
very. So I really like the fast pace. Like when I was watching it, it reminded me of Le Haine. It's a French movie and it's like super fast paced. It's all black and white. It's beautiful. But this, like watching this one, it really reminded me of that. I don't know if it's because of like location or, but I think for some reason I want to say it's the pace of it. Like things were just
Oh,
happening fast.
interesting. I if I were to it just in that moment when you said that,
Mhm.
I immediately thought about that movie Good Times with
Oh yeah,
the dude from
that's the one I still
Batman.
haven't watched it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Robert Pattinson and
yeah, Robert Pattinson and
Safdie,
everything. It's like it's
Safdie.
very fast and everything, and that one has visually like different like it's there's a lot of things going on with that movie because it's like there's like a lot of like uses of light and everything and
Mhm.
shadows and stuff and different lighting effects. But yeah, in terms of like fast pace, that's what immediately came to my mind.
So I have
Now,
two questions.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
no, yeah.
Uh so the first one kind of jumps back into the real estate thing. Like, how did he become a real estate agent so fast?
I fucking I guess. Well, it seemed like it was not a very good real estate
Oh, he was
agency.
awful.
So
But still, he was like a drug addict, and then he got clean, and then he became a real estate agent.
you 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 knock it out of the ballpark in the interview. You can always get
I guess so.
it.
I know how to sell drugs. I can sell houses.
Yeah,
Give me the
well,
job.
that's what he says too. That's what he's kind of saying. It's like the ultimate scam.
Yeah.
So it's like he kind of enjoys it because of that.
So it was that, and then the freaking baby. Like, why was there a baby in the drug house?
Oh man, yeah, it's like I think that adds to like the
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 griminess
kind of
of it.
the griminess and where people in all walks of life kind of like can fall into this.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have a baby with you and it's like man,
Eesh.
yeah, just it made it kind of sad and
Oh
worse
yeah.
feeling too. You always like in I honestly it's funny because like you see the baby around all the time. There's always like
Hmm.
there's like a shot where they turn to the baby
Like,
and
there's
the
a baby
baby's
here.
doing
Don't
something.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but I didn't think in my head that they would cross
Oh
that
yeah.
threshold of like, oh, the baby died. It's like
That's
fuck.
like a forbidden thing in movies and like TV shows. Like, you don't kill babies.
Yeah, man. It's just like it makes it so intense and everything. It's just like a
And they
downer. But
show
yeah.
it for a while too. They're just like, yep, it's dead. Like, ugh.
But I guess that's like that's sort of like a good thing, I guess, because it continues that grittiness and that realness
Yeah.
of everything. But
But to see it though, you're just like, oof, come on.
yeah, it's yeah, that's something that's like hey, the whole like pedophilia thing, and then this baby dying. I
Yeah.
think we can brush. I would happily just brush over that or like fast forward through it.
No, but what were you gonna ask?
Well, I was gonna ask you what didn't you like about the movie? Because I'm trying to think of like what I didn't like about the movie. You know,
Oh, we kind of just touched on it, like the showing a dead baby and then the baby crawling on the ceiling.
yeah, just
Uh,
like as a reminder of that.
yeah, the doll looked terrible. That's the note I have on here, but that was fucked up too. I didn't like that part.
But this is from like '96, right? The
Yeah,
yeah, I guess so. It's like I guess there's times where it's like you can be too real and everything,
yeah, it
where
was a
it's
little too
like
much.
yeah, where it can be a little too much. But I don't know. I don't know. I just thinking about everything. It's like yeah, it's a well put together movie.
Hmm.
But in terms of like my grading of this movie, then I'm trying to think of like what didn't I like about this movie? Because it's like sometimes I think sometimes it was kind of like when after the fact I was like, oh, it was kind of a little slow in the middle. But then like I it's not I don't know if it's because I was like was I distracted or was I there was points in the movie where I was like, all right, I'm not really paying attention. And then you
Yeah,
pay attention again. And it's like I guess it's kind of like there was times where in the movie where I wasn't really invested in it because it was like, oh, whatever. And it's not a subject matter that a lot of people want to watch a movie on and stuff.
yeah. I'm surprised you suggested this one.
I don't know. It always pops up as like a movie you got to watch. And
Uh,
uh and I listened to a podcast recently with Ewan McGregor, who's the main character, and
mhm.
he talked about like how much work he put into trying to get the role, and
Hmm.
and be that lead and everything. But it's like I think they were all like a group of friends, and you notice that like some of these dudes went on to do a lot of things. Like the young girl becomes like the voice of the character in Brave,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and she's in Boardwalk Empire.
Yep.
The dude that like he ends up giving money to, I read on like Amazon that like he's in like a bunch of like top like director movies. Like he's in a Werner Herzog movie and stuff and some other things. And so I think Spielberg because he's in like I think uh was Spielberg Saving Private Ryan?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's in that and everything. And so he's in quite a bit of stuff too. So it's like these guys all went on to do
Yeah.
big movies and be big characters. Like that the dad of the main character, he's like
Hmm.
in Game of Thrones and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I
They
don't
did
know.
hard for themselves.
Yeah. Ewan McGregor is the probably the one that's like did the most for
He did
himself.
okay. He just Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's okay.
Yeah, right. But I can ask you this: what rating did you give it?
3.5.
3.5?
Yeah. And I think it was because of what you said. Like there were moments where I was super invested in the movie. I couldn't look away. But then there were also times where I was like, okay, like just get over. Like I want this thing to be over with.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like I think that's what I ended up giving it a 3, and I think that that does kind of play into the situation where it's like, yeah, there was times where you're completely like you can't stop watching it, and you're like, oh
Hmm.
shit, like that's crazy and everything. You're like commenting out, and like me and my girlfriend were like commenting to each other while we're watching it and out loud and stuff. So it's like, but then there's other times where it's like kind of like a dead spot.
Yeah.
Like I guess sort of one of the dead spots that kind of comes to mind right now is the whole situation that his friend is trying to um like hide away from the cops in his apartment. Like I feel like that was way too long and stuff. And then the
Yeah.
other dude shows up and everything, and it's like there's times where it's like, all right, well, like we can kind of like get along with this and stuff and kind of move it along. But but yeah, it's like I give it a solid 3, and it's something that like it's a movie that I would say people should watch,
Yeah.
but it's like, is it something that like, oh, you desperately need to like go out
It's
and
not
rent it?
one I would recommend. It's not like if somebody's like, "Hey, I really want to watch an obscure movie," I'd be like, check this one out."
Yeah, it's
But
more of like to kind of put it to that aspect. It's like I was kind of disappointed that I had to rent it for $4. Because I couldn't find it anywhere, and I was like, I'm not gonna like start another like free trial of the subscription
yeah,
service or something.
just to watch this movie, like, come on,
Yeah, so I was like $4 down the drain, I guess, but
just to give it a 3 star.
right. But but it so I'm guessing we would kind of answer the same question, the same
Yep.
answer. Would you add this to your movie collection?
Nah, I wouldn't. I
Say
wouldn't
yeah,
do it.
same here. I'm fine watching it and
Yeah.
fine telling someone to like, oh, if you want to like watch a early Ewan McGregor movie, and it's pretty interesting. It's not bad. It's a interesting movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's not something that like I'm gonna go out and purchase and stuff and spend my money
Yeah. No.
any more of my money on this.
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's
I
even
do see
enough
that
of it.
there's like reasons to watch it and everything. And it's nice to know that like this is where Ewan McGregor got his start.
Hmm.
And so like you see where he kind of went to and stuff with this as a backbone. Like
Yeah.
he almost kind of like started his career with like the most like difficult probably acting, like in terms of like being like this like acting as a drug addict and everything, and then kind of shaping his life up, and then probably losing a bunch of weight too and
Oh, for sure.
in the process and stuff. So it's like there was a lot of things that kind of went on for this one acting role that I wonder if he looks back on it, it's like, man, it's like, all right, maybe that's why I'm sitting here successful, where it's like
Yeah.
I invested in this quite a bit, and now he kind of like is able to kind of like do his big things now.
Yeah. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right? It really did a turnaround from the first three films of Star Wars and then into this like I feel like I feel like that's a good way to kind of like do that where it's like all right like he kind of shit the bed uh
And then come back
hypothetically
and clean it up.
with Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first films and stuff
Hmm.
and then yeah you clean it up afterwards.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the program where it's like oh you shit the bed first and then all right we'll come back 10 years later and stuff and then clean it up. We'll make
Give
more
you a
money
nice
down the road.
TV show. Yeah.
Yeah.
We use all this nice technology.
Yeah. But all right, Kai, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason, and we'll be back next week for another one.